Imagine the lost history of the samurai coming to life. Suddenly, you are one of the few who knows what the truth really is. You can see what the most feared samurai like Saigō Takamori actually looked like. Images never shown before. Thanks to AI, we can travel through time, but promise not to share these images with too many people. In this episode, we bring the truth of 20 Meiji-era samurai figures to life. What kind of impact will these images have on history? Number 1. A Ronin who had the rare gift of turning enemies into allies. He brought the hostile domains of Satsuma and Choshu together, which led to the fall of the Tokugawa shogunate. This is Sakamoto Ryōma. His mysterious murder in 1867, just months before the Meiji Restoration, made him a martyr. When his portrait comes to life, you see the gaze of a dreamer, determined but tragically unfinished. He worked closely with Ōkubo Toshimichi to shape the Meiji Restoration. Number 2. As a samurai from Satsuma, he led the modernization of government and economy after the fall of the shogunate. He was known as ruthless but efficient. Ōkubo Toshimichi was the master architect of the new Japan. His centralization policy made him both feared and admired. He even suppressed the rebellion of his old friend Saigō Takamori. In 1878, he was assassinated by samurai who saw his reforms as betrayal. His death shocked the nation. His policies live on. As soon as the photo gains color, his posture radiates unbending determination. Ōkubo's economic reforms laid the foundation on which Shibusawa Eiichi built. Number 3. He began as a low-ranking samurai but became the father of modern Japanese capitalism. He founded over 500 companies, including Japan's first modern bank. He believed that business and ethics go hand in hand, inspired by Confucian values and Western entrepreneurship. You are looking at Shibusawa Eiichi. He collaborated with Ito Hirobumi and Fukuzawa Yukichi to make economic growth possible. His legacy lives on in Japanese business ethics and infrastructure. He turned samurai honor into a brand, literally. As his face moves, you see the calm determination of someone who used money flows as weapons. Shibusawa's reforms flourished thanks to the cultural shift to which Oyama Tsutematsu also contributed. Number 4. Oyama Tsutematsu was one of the first Japanese women to study in the U.S. She returned with a mission to educate and empower women. As the wife of General Oyama Iwao, she had political influence but used her voice mainly to build schools for girls. She was a bridge between two worlds, East and West, tradition and progress. Her views on gender equality were revolutionary for her time and often clashed with Meiji Japan's conservatism. When her eyes light up, you feel the mix of gentle charm and iron resolve, a woman ahead of her time. Tsutematsu's ideals were reinforced by Fukuzawa Yukichi's advocacy for modern education. Number 5. His pen changed the country. He preached independence, rationalism, and Western science as the path to modernity. Fukuzawa Yukichi was not a general or politician, but his influence reached the highest circles, and his books became a guide for reformers. He founded Keio University and declared equality more important than lineage. Fukuzawa refused any title or political office and kept to his own path. His face appears on the 10,000 yen note, rightly so. His sharp gaze betrays nothing, but his upright posture radiates absolute conviction. A man who used his words like swords. Fukuzawa's ideas inspired politicians such as Ito Hirobumi in drafting the Meiji Constitution. Number 6. He traveled to Europe to understand the foundations of a modern state. He returned with the model for the Meiji Constitution and became Japan's first prime minister. This is Ito Hirobumi. Behind the scenes, he manipulated power with finesse. He survived 4 terms as prime minister, but his conservatism also earned him enemies. In 1909, he was shot by a Korean nationalist. His death marked the beginning of a new turbulent phase in Japan's foreign policy. As soon as his portrait moves, you see a diplomat with nerves of steel, the eyes of someone who fought with constitutions instead of bullets. Ito worked with revolutionaries like Takasugi Shinsaku, who paved the way militarily. Number 7. The figure in the photo was known as the rebellious strategist of Choshu. He founded the Kiheitai, an unconventional army of farmers, merchants, and samurai, and brought the shogunate to its knees. Takasugi Shinsaku was his name. His tactics: speed, chaos, and fire. Despite poor health, he led battles with relentless energy. His collaboration with Sakamoto Ryōma and Kido Takayoshi formed an unstoppable revolutionary force. He died of tuberculosis at 28, but his legacy became the battle plan for the Meiji Restoration. His eyes hardly blink, a man who stared death in the face but kept going until the end. Takasugi's struggle was politically continued by Okuma Shigenobu. Number 8. He founded Waseda University, advocated parliamentary democracy, and broke with the oligarchy. Okuma Shigenobu was a political heavyweight with a fondness for Western ideas. His political career had many highs and lows. He even survived a bombing that cost him a leg. As prime minister, he led Japan through crucial transitional years. Okuma was visionary, unconventional, and unafraid to go against the tide. His legacy lives on in Japan's parliamentary system. When his face lights up, we see a man with tired eyes but a burning fire inside, uncompromising and innovative. Okuma worked closely with military leaders like Oyama Iwao. Number 9. Oyama Iwao was not a man of words, but of actions. He rose from samurai to field marshal and led Japan during the First Sino-Japanese War. He reformed the army with help from French and German advisors and turned Japan into a military power. His wife, Tsutomatsu, connected him to Western social ideals, a rare duo at the time. His role in the Imperial Council made him a quiet but influential power behind the scenes. His posture is upright, almost militarily perfect, and his eyes scan the horizon as a general does. Oyama's military successes were made possible by Kido Takayoshi's policies. Number 10. The figure you're looking at was one of the 3 great men behind the Meiji Restoration. He worked closely with Takasugi Shinsaku and Sakamoto Ryōma and forged a new nation from the ruins of the shogunate. Kido believed in education reform, meritocracy, and central government. He was known as Kido Takayoshi. He visited Europe and returned with ideas that accelerated modernization. His influence was enormous, but his name often echoes more softly than that of his allies. Yet he was at the foundation of it all. As soon as the colors appear, you see a quiet man with an observant face, a master strategist hidden in simplicity. Kido formed the inner circle of Emperor Meiji, whom he faithfully advised. Number 11. Emperor Meiji, born as Mutsuhito, came to power as a teenager and saw his country transform from a feudal empire into an industrial nation. Although he rarely spoke in public, his name became synonymous with progress. Under his reign, the samurai disappeared, railways and factories appeared, and a constitution was introduced. He surrounded himself with modernists such as Ito Hirobumi and Okubo Toshimichi. He was the symbol of change, while others did the dirty work, a silent emperor with loud impact. When the emperor moves his head, his gaze radiates dignity, distant but all-seeing. Meiji's reforms brought him into conflict with old allies like Saigō Takamori. Number 12. The most famous samurai in the world, better known as Saigō Takamori. He was beloved by the people and feared by the elite. He helped with the Meiji restoration, but later turned against the government he had helped create. The reason? The loss of samurai honor. His Satsuma rebellion in 1877 was bloody and hopeless. He committed seppuku after the defeat and was posthumously honored as a national hero. A man torn between tradition and innovation, and the ultimate victim of the modernization he helped set in motion. His eyes blink with pain and honor, the tragic hero who fought modernity with old-fashioned courage. Saigō's military power was ultimately broken by Yamagata Aritomo's new army. Number 13, known as the father of the modern Japanese army. He studied military tactics in Germany and introduced conscription. Kido Takayoshi. He built a disciplined, loyal army that became essential to Japan's rise as an imperial power. But he was more than a general. As a politician, he was inspired by the Prussian model and influenced the Meiji Constitution. His network extended to the most powerful circles. Behind every military victory in Meiji Japan, his echo was heard. His portrait shows eyes like a commander, cool, calculating, and always 3 steps ahead. Yamagata's reforms inspired opponents like Enomoto Takeaki to seek other paths. Number 14. Enomoto Takeaki was an admiral who refused to surrender to the new Meiji government. He fled to Hokkaido and founded the short-lived Republic of Ezo, the only true republican experiment in Japan. He was eventually captured, but instead of being executed, he was granted pardon and later became a minister. His intellect and mastery of Dutch made him valuable. From rebel to minister, his life's twist is almost too bizarre to be true. Enomoto's amnesty came through the influence of reformers like Mori Aranori. Number 15. He was known as the founder of the modern Japanese education system. As the first minister of education, he introduced compulsory schooling, female education, and Western pedagogy. Mori Aranori. His reforms met resistance from conservatives. He was eventually murdered by a nationalist who saw him as a threat to traditional values. Mori believed a nation was built in the classrooms. His life ended tragically, but his ideas live on in every Japanese textbook. His face is composed, but his eyes reveal a burning mission: education as a revolutionary weapon. Mori's education system shaped the generation in which Natsume Soseki grew up. Number 16. Not a politician or warrior, but his pen was just as sharp. Natsume Soseki. He wrote about the spiritual toll of modernization, about loneliness in a changing Japan. His novel Kokoro became the conscience of a generation. As professor and critic, he challenged nationalism even when it was popular. He was a bridge between old and new, with words as planks. His face is on the 1,000 yen note, fitting for a man who valued words more than gold. When he slightly bows his head, you see the weight of his time. Melancholic, brilliant, and never at ease. Soseki's work reflected on the era that began with Sakamoto Ryōma's dream. Number 17. He modernized infrastructure, including railways and industry. He had a flamboyant personality and loved Western clothing and culture, which made him both beloved and mocked. Inoue Kaoru was a powerful figure in Meiji diplomacy. As a member of the Choshu Five, he traveled to England, where he was gripped by the idea of modernization as Minister of Foreign Affairs. His influence on Japan's international position was enormous, and his style was just as impressive. When his colorful jacket comes to life, you see a diplomat who turned presence into theater. But behind his smile lay razor-sharp insight. His foreign focus laid the foundation for the military confidence Tanaka Fujimaro needed. Number 18. A silent revolutionary. As Vice Minister of Education, he played a key role in adopting the American education system. Tanaka Fujimaro. He traveled to the US, spoke fluent English, and brought back ideas that fundamentally changed Japan. He advocated compulsory schooling, female education, and the secularization of the curriculum. His policies were long underestimated, but without Tanaka, millions of Japanese would never have been able to read, count, or dream. He quietly gave a generation their future back. His education system created the awareness that reformers like Tokugawa Yoshinobu needed. Number 19. Tokugawa Yoshinobu was the 15th and last shogun of Japan. He abdicated in 1867, not with a sword, but with a signature, thus preventing a civil war. His abdication marked the end of 250 years of Tokugawa rule. He was modern-minded, loved photography and Western technology, but was too late to save his power. His choice of surrender instead of fight was historic, and perhaps his greatest act of leadership. When his portrait moves, you see no warrior, but a man who knew that bending is stronger than breaking. His humble retreat made way for the ideals Iwakura Tomomi once dreamed of. Number 20. He was the political linchpin behind the Iwakura mission, a world tour by top officials to gather knowledge. He visited America and Europe and returned with the realization that Japan had to reform radically. Iwakura Tomomi. As a confidant of the emperor and master strategist, he pulled the strings behind the scenes. His calm appearance hid a merciless decisiveness. He was no soldier, but his diplomacy accelerated Japan's modernization more than any army ever could. As soon as his eyes move in color, you see no vanity, only calm insight and an unyielding will to serve his emperor. And thus our story ends, with the man who opened Japan's eyes to the world. Listen closely. This is only our second episode. What we're about to reveal will forever change the way you see history. The secrets yet to come are deep, rare, and at times truly shocking. Subscribe now, because like the samurai, we stand for honor, loyalty, and truth. And you, are you ready to take that journey with us?